I want to know a bit more about you and your journey to where you are today as an actor. You're from Palmdale, California, of all places, which is very interesting.
Actually, I'm not. And we need to talk to somebody at IMDb.
Okay.
Because they have been saying in Wikipedia that I was from Palmdale, California.
Where are you from? Let's figure this out.
South Central and Compton.
Okay, that's very different from Palmdale, California.
Very, very different. So Compton first.
Okay.
Then South Central. Later on in life, when I got married and started having children, I moved to Palmdale.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not from Palmdale.
Okay, that's a very, very different thing. So I'm so glad you cleared that up.
Straight out of Compton, right here.
Welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversations at Home program. I am Stacy Wilson Hunt. If you're interested in programming like this from the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the star of The Rookie Feds, Niecy Nash. Niecy, congratulations on an incredible year. I am hard-pressed to think of another actor who has done so much incredible work and work that is so distinct from itself over the course of such a short time. So firstly, tell me what it has felt like for you to see all of these series, whether it's Dahmer, Rookie Feds, and even Never Have I Ever, resonate so deeply with people. How has that felt for you as an artist?
Wow. It's overwhelming a little bit, but I can't really live in that place too long because there's always another set to get to and another script to learn.
Right. You don't have time.
No, I love that Never Have I Ever has given young people permission to go to therapy. It's almost like playing Dr. Ryan made therapy cool. And so the kids, they hit me up in my DMs on social media and are like, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, no, baby. Mother plays a therapist on TV. And then I felt like with Dahmer, to be unseen and unheard and not have value in the world is hard for anyone. So I was happy with that role that I got to give voice and give vent to someone who had been overlooked for so long. And I hope wherever Miss Glenda Cleveland is resting in the world, that she finally feels seen.
Oh, that's lovely.
And with Rookie Feds, the statistics are less than 1% of Black women make up the FBI. So I'm happy to, stand in that role for young girls to see and imagine themselves, in that universe.
That's so cool. And you saying that made me think of when CSI premiered, there was a huge uptick in interest for forensics. After women, and of course men too, but after women saw Mark Helgenberger's character on the show, there was this burst of interest in this field. Yeah. And I think what you're saying is true, is for any woman, especially Black women, to see someone like you in this space, it really does make them feel I can do that too. And that's really special.
Not only that, but the character that I play on Rookie Feds, I'll pull these air quotes from heaven, is a woman of a certain age. And with that being said, giving yourself permission to pivot and begin again, you know what I mean, on your second or third act.
I love that.
I love that too.
That's so great. And I do want to talk more about that in a little bit, but I want to know a bit more about you and your journey to where you are today as an actor. You're from Palmdale, California, of all places, which is very interesting.
Actually, I'm not. And we need to talk to somebody at IMDb.
Okay.
Because they have been saying in Wikipedia that I was from Palmdale, California.
Where are you from? Let's figure this out.
South Central and Compton.
Okay, that's very different from Palmdale, California.
Very, very different. So Compton first.
Okay.
Then South Central. Later on in life, when I got married and started having children, I moved to Palmdale.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not from Palmdale.
Okay, that's a very, very different thing. So I'm so glad you cleared that up.
Straight out of Compton, right here.
So you are from Compton and then South Central. Tell me what your life was like as a kid. And did you see yourself as an artist?
Did I see myself? I'm going to start there. Did I see myself as an artist? When I was 5 years old, I was at my grandmother's house in St. Louis, Missouri. And I saw the most gorgeous Black woman I had ever seen in my 5 years of living. She had on a long red dress and her eyelashes looked like butterflies. And I said, Grandmama, who is that? She said, baby, that's Lola Falana.
Oh my goodness.
And I felt like in that moment, the call on my life was stamped on the canvas of my imagination. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to be on TV. I want to be Black and fabulous. And
that's so early to have that epiphany too. That's amazing.
Well, I knew it then. You know
wow.
what I mean? And, it did not start to, when I say manifest, I mean where the world could say, oh, I can come see you in a play. Oh, you had 2 lines in a movie I saw the other night. But for me, the manifestation began as soon as I acknowledged I heard the thing.
Wow. And just the visual of that gorgeous woman.
Yeah, I said, I know that's, and I'll tell you this too, when I was filming When They See Us for Ava DuVernay, Blair Underwood was in it, and he knew Lola Falana personally. And one day he put her on the phone. I had tears just flowing because I didn't know. He said, somebody wants to say hi to you.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, and I saw you, and that's the, and she was like,
did she say, no, it's okay, my dear, just take a breath?
She was lovely.
Oh, that is so special, Niecy. I'm so glad you had that. What a gift, right?
A big gift.
Well, obviously, I think a lot of people first got to know you on RENO 911, which is so incredibly different from the work you've done as of late. But I was curious, that show was so broad and so silly and so wonderful and all those incredible collaborators. Were you seen largely as a comedic actor after that? Did you have to sort of prove yourself and tell people, hey, I can do that, but I can also do a lot of other things? What was that journey like after RENO 911?
Did I? I absolutely did, because when people meet you in a space, they leave you where they met you.
That's so true. So true.
So I had to continually try to reintroduce myself to the industry. And they kept telling me, no, honey, we see you and you do broad comedy. Wow. And I said, but I know I can do something else. And it wasn't until I did Getting On HBO.
One of my favorites. Amazing.
Thank you. With Alex Borstein and Lori Metcalf.
And you're sort of like the straight person on that show. You are really the most kind of peaceful in her calmness and patience. And the other two are the strange ones, right?
Yeah, which was not a place I was used to being in.
Right.
And that was when the industry first said, oh, well, maybe. That's
so great. And who saw you for that role? I'm so curious how you got cast in that show.
I had a team meeting with all my, agents, managers, all the people. And I said, I called this meeting because I wanted to reintroduce myself to you. Because I think you know me. But I changed. Things have changed. And, and I said, we have to be on the same page if we're all going to go this way. Because this is where I'm going. And if you don't see it, I'm okay for you to get off the ride, but don't hold me back. And it was after that I got the audition for Getting On.
That is so great. And to remind folks, the men who created Getting On had also done Big Love, Mark and Will. And that was and Getting On is an adaptation of a British series. And the tone is very distinct. It's tragedy, it's comedy, it's absurd, it's dry. So it really is, I think, probably was a hard show to cast for that reason. So the fact that they saw you and saw that magic in you is so special.
Well, actually, I read for the part that Alex Borstein ended up getting cast as. And I kept saying, can I read this other thing? And at first they told me no. And I told them all the reasons why I loved it on paper.
Right.
And they said in the BBC series, this character was a 60-year-old white woman. It's a no. And I was so passionate about my love for her they said, would you like to come back on Friday and read that part? And I said, no, I would not. I want to read it right now.
Oh, God, I love that.
And I read it right then.
That really speaks to, and this is, of course, no surprise to any actor watching, the self-advocacy that has to take place.
Yeah.
For you in every case. You can't rely on your team, even though you want them to support you. You have to advocate for yourself every time.
You have to. And so I did that, and it was the gift that changed my life, because it was because of that series and the nomination for that series,
I remember,
for my character, that a whole different portal opened up. I went on from there to do Selma, to do When They See Us, to do Dahmer, things that people normally wouldn't have seen me for. But I am a firm believer that the adage is true. People who can make you laugh can make you cry, but the reverse is not always true.
That is so true. And I think we've seen mostly men make those transitions. When we think of Robin Williams, Adam Sandler, people of that ilk, and people who started off doing broad comedy, Jim Carrey, we haven't seen a lot of women make that transition. And that's why I think that's so special, what you've just talked about.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'd love to talk about, obviously you worked with Ryan Murphy on Dahmer, but you had worked with him previously on Scream Queens. And I was wondering how that experience whet your appetite for wanting to work with him again, because that is a special universe. When you're part of the Ryan Murphy universe, that is a unique place.
Well, let's go a little further back. I actually did a series for Ryan called Popular.
Oh, yes. I remember Popular. Of course.
That was when we first came into each other's world.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then he cast me in a series that did not make it past the pilot called Pretty Handsome.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And then we parted ways for many years. And then he circled back around for Scream Queens.
Okay.
But I don't care how long the time gap is. Whenever he calls me, he will have me at hello.
Oh, that's amazing. And what is so uniquely special about working with Ryan that might surprise people? Because he is sort of enigmatic and he's so in control of his own message and his content. And I've met Ryan. He's a very special guy. What would surprise people about what it's like to collaborate with him?
Let me tell you something. Ryan Murphy, in my opinion, is a genius. And you just know that if you follow his lead and where he's taking you, magic will happen on the screen. That is my experience. That he knows exactly what he's doing, what he's looking for, what he wants. And if he calls you, just trust your gift, because he knows what he's doing, because his track record is impeccable.
That's true. It's hard to argue with all the success, right?
Right. You just show up.
So did you lean into that ethos with Dahmer to the degree that the material was so difficult, the tone was difficult, but you had this trust established with him? And did you feel freedom in that to just really just envelop yourself in this woman?
I really said yes before I knew what it was.
Okay.
He said, he called me. What are you doing?
Is that how he starts his calls, his business calls?
Hey, what are you doing? I'm like, And he said, I have this thing, and I really want you to do it.
So mysterious, isn't it?
And I said, okay. He said, so let me tell you about it. And I'm like, okay, but I already said okay, but go ahead. What is it?
You do want a few more details, right?
I just was like, okay, whatever it is, yes.
That is so great. And, I think a lot of people had mixed feelings about the show before they even saw it. I think there's an idea that we're giving this person screen time or sort of elevating his legacy in a way that none of us want, obviously. But I was so interested to hear the word that you've used to describe Dahmer. And I agree with you, which is timeless. And I love that word, because as much as we want to reject this story, it is so timely and it's still so current. So tell me why you use that word, and specifically to describe your character and her involvement in this horrible, tragic circumstances.
I think that there are still marginalized communities. I think that there is still over policing and under policing, depending on what you look like. I think it is difficult sometimes still in the world to be heard. I think homophobia still exists. So many things. White privilege still exists. There are so many things to me that make this story timeless. I mean, all you have to do is watch the news and be like, oh yeah, they still doing that.
Right. No, I think that's so true. And the value, and of course, Ryan's whole goal with this piece was to show the victims and show the people who'd been left out of the news cycle. Because of course, I remember the story. I didn't remember anything about the victims. I'd never heard of the character you played. And I feel ashamed of us as a culture that we didn't give more time and space to these people. And I'm just so grateful to Ryan for kind of having the guts to tell this story, as awful as it is.
Yeah, because initially, I think when the initial reports and other stories or films lean into the sensationalism of it.
Of course.
And you see it through Dahmer's lens, as opposed to the collateral damage he left behind, which is the victims and their families. And even though Glenda Cleveland, who I play, wasn't killed by Dahmer, she died a slow death emotionally and mentally. She was still one of his victims.
Absolutely. And that trauma is also just passed down. Anyone who had to live through that, any of their children or other relatives have all had to live with this for years. And it's just, you really do see the insidiousness of these crimes. It's just heartbreaking. But your work is staggering. Just absolutely one of the best performances I've seen in a long time. So congratulations. You can tell you put in a lot of work and time and love too.
And I'll tell you, I was actually filming Dahmer and Reno 911 at the same time.
I heard that, and I was going to ask you about what a binary experience that must have been. And was it a gift to be able to turn off one switch and then turn another one on?
I needed it.
You did? Okay.
I needed to be able to take Glenda Cleveland off.
And were you able to leave her behind at the end of the day and then step into your other character?
I think she is forever with me.
Oh.
You play these characters, you do a deep dive, you lean into their world, their psyche, their mindset, especially if you're playing a real person. And no matter what, there is always a little part of every character that I play that I think is with me, like bone to marrow. You just take a little piece of it with you, and you continue on your journey because you learn things from them. They help you grow. You see things differently. Your perspectives can shift, and some of it you don't want to lose.
Right. No, it's so true. And they probably stick with you almost like little souls living in your body, and you can access them when you need them next time, right?
Yeah.
On to Rookie Feds, an amazing show and a huge hit as well, which is no small feat these days to get people engaged, and multi-platform success, which is the other challenge. And you've really killed it. And so congratulations again on this endeavor. And on this show, obviously, you are the star, but also an executive producer. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what has been most fun for you and what have you most learned in this capacity as an artist alongside of starring in the show?
The most fun part about it, honestly, is my cast. We have been on a group thread that was probably started 7 months ago.
Okay.
And are still on it. I mean, to the point where we are connected every single day, either at work or even if we're not at work, we're on the thread, or we're calling, or we're FaceTiming, or we're saying, are you hungry? Let me meet you here. It is the weird, I've never had that type of a connection with the cast. It's mind blowing.
And what do you guys talk about on your thread? I'm so intrigued.
Oh, what don't we talk about? Everything. We literally talk about everything, and we laugh together every single day.
That's so
Yeah,
great.
that's the best thing about it. And what have I learned? I learned that being a leading lady is not in title, but in deed.
Oh, wow.
You should, in order to lead, in order to be a leader, you have to be someone people want to follow. And I try to curate a very loving, very warm, very genuine environment for people to come to work in.
That is so great. And you really have learned from some incredible people too. Ryan, Ava, they all set wonderful tones on set. And I'm sure that you're probably pulling, obviously you're your own person, but you had some great precursors to this.
Oh, for sure.
That is so lovely. And I was also intrigued and happy to see that you've integrated some family members into the show, namely your better half, Jessica, in episode 3, and then also your own offspring. So tell me a little bit about bringing them into the fold and how it felt to be working with your loved ones.
Well, first of all, I love my family. I love working with them. My middle daughter came on and played a friend of a victim on the series. My little daughter came on, the younger one, and plays one of my twins on the series. And then my spouse came on and played my first love interest in the series.
I saw that. Very steamy, by the way. No surprise, you have great chemistry.
Yeah, so I love working with my family. I love it so much.
That is so great. And, you're one of the bosses, so you can decide who you want to work with, right?
Well, what, let me tell you something about that. That is the one thing I do not do.
Okay.
I will give you opportunity,
right,
but I won't give you a job.
That's good.
You follow me?
I do.
So if you come in, like, you are auditioning against everyone else who comes in. And you know what I mean? If you know what I mean? I never use my position to influence anyone to do anything. You know what I mean? But I'll give you an opportunity, and the rest is up to you.
That's a good approach. And I do want us to talk about Miss Angie, because she seems like a pretty important figure in the series. So tell us a little about who she is and what role she has played in your getting to know this character and playing this character. Okay,
well, Miss Angie is our real life FBI consultant. She was in the FBI, cute as a button. And I looked at Miss Angie and I'm like, she has on cute jeans and cute sneakers. And, because in your mind, you're thinking all of the women I've seen do a procedural, you wear a black jacket and a white button down.
Right. No style. Right.
No style. And I'm like, what is going on? And so she helps us like with all of how to do all tactical things.
Okay.
Weapons training, fighting, entering a building, all of those things that we need to know to keep the world safe. I mean, to keep the world true.
Right.
Safe from scrutiny and people saying, no, that's not right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So she's our everything.
Oh, great.
And she is a Black woman. And another thing she influenced, specifically for me, was my style. Because I'm looking at her going, she said, I only usually dress up in a suit and a button down if I got to go to court. And I was like, well, now, what you see what she got on? I want all of it. Give me this. I want to look just like this.
So she's in the closet with you, helping you select your clothes.
Listen, I see her she got on a cute pink shirt. I'm like, can I get a pink shirt?
But I love that. And I love the idea that, for so long, I think women who had these jobs, they had to blend in and almost become men in order to survive. They didn't want to assert their femininity, their sexuality. They didn't want to show those parts of themselves for fear of being ousted or not being part of the group. And now that hopefully, fingers crossed, men are used to us being part of groups and organizations, we can remind people we are distinct. Women bring great, I think, especially in a job like this, emotional connection to people who are suffering, people who've been victim in a crime. You see that emotional connection that your character is able to make with people who are suffering. And men just have a different approach. And I think it's cool to see that we can all work alongside of each other, but we each have different gifts that we bring to the job, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
that is very cool. And you reference this theme of a second act. And I love that because not only do we see that in the series, you yourself has been so wonderfully open about your own second act and personally and professionally. And I would love to know, in the next 5 years, as your second act becomes even more interesting, what else do you want to do that you haven't done? Are there things you want to direct? Are there stories you want to write? Are there people you want to work with who are sort of on your dream list?
Now, girl, now that's a big question.
I know.
Let me try to unpack it a little bit at a time. I have entered into a first look deal with E1.
Oh, that's great.
And so I am looking to bring stories to the screens from voices unheard and, the stories that are not often told. So that's kind of like my mandate moving forward with that. I would also love to find something or create something that I do with my spouse where our arts intersect. She's a singer, songwriter, actor.
She's a great singer. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm an actor, producer, director. So I want to figure out something because we love working together. We love doing everything together. So it's like, why not do, something on camera together? If I had $1 for everybody who asks us to do a reality show, I would be a very, I would be a well-off woman. But
please don't, Niecy.
Absolutely not. I think people are just so curious. What are they doing over there? We need to, what's happening?
You know what it is, Niecy? I think people just aren't used to seeing people so openly in love and happy. I think that's what it is. I think it's just such a striking new thing for us to see. There's no controversy here. These are two humans who found each other. They're in love, and that's it.
Listen, I said, when the people come, I say, there's nothing to see here. We laugh all the time, make a lot of love and drink expensive champagne and stay skinny dipping. Is that a TV show? I don't think so. That
sounds like the secret to a long life is what that sounds like.
Well, it's not a TV show. It won't be one at my house.
I love that. And actually, I was intrigued to hear that you have gotten to know Miss Oprah Winfrey lately. And I would love to know if you would ever want to collaborate with her on something, if she has imparted any wisdom to you that, she has so much to give, and what you have possibly learned from her.
Listen, I've learned so many things. I don't even know where to begin, but I do. It is one of the greater gifts to be able to tap into her wisdom, her advice, her expertise. There are things that she has told me that have changed my life immensely. And the one thing I will tell you that my responsibility or the reciprocity in her words is that they don't fall on a deaf ear. When she says something to me, I take it like it is dripping from the throne. and then I put action to it. Because words without, a plan of action behind it is nothing. And I don't ever want her to waste her wisdom on me. So when she speaks, I open my ears up and clean out the wax. And I say, talk to me. So I love it. And I would love to work with her in any capacity. Oprah, Ava, Ryan Murphy will be people who always have me at hello.
Oh, I love that. And what great company for you to be in it. And you deserve to be among them. That's the best part. You've worked so hard and we're all just so happy for you. I know I can speak for most people I know and we just root for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's so great. And it's wonderful to see after so much work and really slogging it out in almost every genre, TV and film. You seem like you're just in a wonderful space. So I just want to say congratulations and well done on Rookie Feds.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.